There are a few adult cartoons I watch, and when Invincible released in 2001, I was kind of hooked. It's created by Robert Kirkman, who is pretty much flawless as a creator. His only flaw being he doesn't know when to stop.
Previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
So after the first season, I, like many other Invincible fans, have been patiently waiting for a second season for 3 whole years. So when the second season finally dropped, we were excited. The question is, was it actually worth the wait? Off the bat, yes, it is very much worth it. I'm strictly a show fan, so the lore and all the other bits and pieces of the Invincible franchise, I'm not really aware of the whole comics. But as a show, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that Eve special that also released last year. Everything about the world, I very much enjoy. Because I have a mushy brain, some of the bits and pieces of what was going on I really forgot, because it's just been too long. So the recaps definitely come in handy, and I forgot how great this cast was. Of course, J.K. Simmons is the greatest. It's not just because he's J.K., but because he doesn't sound like a cheap version of himself, which is what usually happens when it comes to voiceover. He's great. Stephen Yeun is great. Sandra Oh, everybody's fantastic, and it's a gigantic cast full of giant names. It's a great cast. The animation didn't skip a beat from the last season. It's still good. I don't feel that the animation, even from the last season, isn't leaps and bounds, isn't like super different from anything else out there. It is still great, beautiful animation. It just doesn't have anything that really separates himself visually, I feel like. Not that it really needs it, because the story and everything else around the show is so fantastic and great, but that's probably the one thing. It's not that it's lacking, it's just that it doesn't separate itself visually from everything else. This season does really start off kind of weird. I mean, it's been 3 years and I can't remember shit, but it really made me question what I remembered and what I knew, especially because we're doing a whole bunch of dimension hoppings. So the dimension hoppings definitely comes in play later on with a bunch of cool cameos that they incorporate. There's a lot of characters from the series that feel like they could be cheap ripoffs of other well-known comic book series, even though the comparison and who they're ripping off is blatant. It doesn't really feel like it. It feels like its own thing. It's weird to explain. For example, the Guardians of the Globe. It's obviously Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're still their own thing, and it feels separate completely. Like you understand where the inspiration of that certain character is coming from, and it feels more like an homage, or it feels more like a tip of the cap more than like a blatant ripoff and it to disrespect in any way. Like, there's a guy who looks and acts just like Rhino from Spider-Man, but instead of a rhino, he's an elephant. You know what I'm saying? And it works out. In the first season, Mark is trying to figure things out. He is a teenager whose father is the most powerful superhero on the planet. In the first season, he's looking for his powers, trying to develop all that, figuring out what he is. And he's trying to cope with the aftermath of the first season. And he's still trying to figure out who and what he is. And now he has to balance being a superhero with his personal life. There's just a bunch of bad guys that keep popping in and out. There are some main bad guys, I guess. Those are the ones who are dealing with Omni-Man over here, the Supermans, I guess. They're always looming. They're always in the background. So he has to deal with that threat in the back of his head while still dealing with a bunch of other guys that are popping in and out. And the Guardians of the Globes are popping in and helping while he has to balance life with a girlfriend and his personal life while trying to balancing all the drama that happens with his dad. Plus there's another little member of the family that gets added that is yet another thing that he has to balance. But the mission pacing between episodes, they keep them within the episode. So a bad guy might pop up, they have to deal with that guy, they move on. There's like a handful of bad guys or new characters that come in the episode that will run off and you will see and will carry over within the season. The very first bad guy you see, who's the guy who's messing around with the dimension hopping, you kind of see his origin story, and then you see what he turns into, and then he comes out at the end and turns out to be like one of his most formidable foes and changes his trajectory of Mark's life through violence. So there's a lot of Spider-Man things in the sense of trying to balance the superhero life and the normal life, and there's also some Batman things with the whole not killing thing. So they managed to balance all that really well. Some of it does drag a little bit, but there's tons of drama throughout the whole season. It's funny how the drama revolves around Omni-Man, but he's not there, which that in itself is kind of the drama that he was never there either, which is kind of funny. There's so much to unpack, and once you think you unpack one thing, they add something else, or they add drama from another character. The whole giant cast of characters, the whole Guardians of the Globe, they have their own deals, and characters die too, which adds a lot of weight to the show. Things that here in the channel we've said a lot, like in stories, I feel like we're afraid of killing off people now, and they certainly do that here, making it feel like no one's safe. You know, you can have a favorite character and he could be gone. They do drop like half a break episode with Alan the alien, who's voiced by Seth Rogen, who we met last season. They drop like half of an episode for him to catch up with his going on, and then he comes into play later, and I'm really excited where they're going with him. The fighting is still fun and fantastic, just like in the first one. Bloody, gory, nasty, guts, everything you would want out of an adult superhero cartoon. I think the tagline of the season is "Who are you and what do you want?" because he says that to everybody he meets. Every new bad guy that shows up, he's like, "Who are you? What do you want?" He gets beat up a lot, which lets you know where he is power ranking wise. He kept getting beaten up, and only the one right eye keeps getting swollen. So if you have not seen it, keep an eye on that. I found that to be interesting. It's like everybody's right eye. When somebody gets punched in the face, it's always the right eye. I don't know if that's an animation thing or what. Maybe they just copy paste the same bloody eye and post it over. I don't know. They did give a meta answer in the series, which I thought was like not a shot, but kind of like a shut the f up and take it kind of answer to why it takes so long between seasons. And it was very meta, and I enjoyed it very much actually, and it makes you appreciate and understand why it takes so long between seasons. I don't think it's as good as the first season, because the first season we were going to the unknown, and now once you know who, what, where, and why, it's a little difficult to always top the unknown. But I think that this second season is it's a very enjoyable one. It's a must watch if you were an Invincible fan. Really enjoyed what they did with certain stuff. Certain stuff did lag to me, but where the season left off and what we're going to expect for the future, I'm very excited. Overall, I think it's a fantastic show. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but especially I would like to know what you guys want from the series moving forward. What I really want is somehow figure out a way to do it, is to have an Invincible and the Boys crossover. That would be dope. Maybe have homeboys show up and they fight each other or some. There's been a Boys animation, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. And with the dimension hopping, I thought they could have done it here, so that might have been a wasted opportunity. But of course, let me know all your thoughts on Invincible. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you.